Hey everyone, welcome. It's a live stream today. It's a masterclass. Normally we have these on Monday, but Monday turned out to be a holiday, so we had to reschedule to today. Hey, Bitter Dan first. Hey, glad that you're here. Um, Again, today we're covering landing pages. If you're not familiar with what a landing page is, at least in a sense for like a tabletop game, it's basically the first page you land on or the first visual that you see before you start your campaign. So you would normally see them right before you would start whatever campaign that you're doing. And sometimes DMs have their players go back to this landing page in between quests and stuff like that. It really just depends on the DM. If you're just having a hard time kind of visualizing what a landing page looks like, I've got a couple examples here. Here's a Cyberpunk one. This one was made with the shape and line tools. That's how I was kind of able to make this. There's an orc landing page that I made. There's a pirate landing page, and then a steampunk landing page. And I do have a couple more, but I just wanted to share the ones that I have. All of those maps are available on my profile. I'll actually post the link to those in that chat, and I'll go ahead and pin that up there so you guys can go ahead and download those. And then what I'll do is I'll ask people in the crowd, if there are any people in the chat, if there's any type of landing page theme that you want to make today, just not cyberpunk, orc, pirate, or steampunk. And whenever you're deciding on it, you generally want to pick like a pack from a particular style, so that way you stay within the same kind of style of art, so like a theme. So we could do like a fae one, an elven one, a gothic horror one. There's all kinds of ones. If there's a particular style or a particular pack that you guys like from the fantasy battle map style, ooh, gothic horror, yeah, let's do that. So first, let's just break down one landing page that we have here. So we have these ones right here. Let me just kind of go over the composition of a landing page. And so a landing page generally has three really important things, though they have more. It just depends on how much detail and whatnot. And normally I try not to put too much, because one of the most important things for a landing page is to put your overworld map. That means your world map. So there has to be space on that. So just know that there are limited on how much detail you can put on a landing page, depending on the world map, the size of that map, and the room that you have on the landing page. So obviously a world map or space for a world map is one of the biggest requirements for a landing page. The second thing is like having a task list. The task list could also be like things to do, quests that you might have to do. It could be NPCs that you have to meet, whatever it is. So a task list. And there is no right side of the page to put the component. You could be on the left, the right, the bottom, top, whatever. And then the other one that you need to have besides the map and the task list is those little spaces for your players' icons, images. So whether it's profile pictures or a full-on picture of the character within a space. So you'll see that I have these 5 players right here. Now, of course, you're going to want to put down 6, 7, however many players that you have. And of course, when you make it, you want to stick with like the particular theme of your world. So if you're playing like a gothic horror type of campaign, then you want to go with a gothic horror theme. You're going with a pirate like you see here, then maybe use those stamps. Now, there are other things that you could add to your landing page, like how much coin you have, a space for a backpack to let you know like maybe the most key important items that all your players like have. There could be, like I said, a coin purse for the coin. It could be like a list of NPCs that your players have to meet. There's all these kind of things that you can add to your landing page. But just remember that really important thing. There needs to be space for that world map, because that's really the one thing that the landing page is for. Is that way your players can see the overworld map that they're going to be playing on. So that's kind of important. So let's start it out. Normally what I do is I'll always pick the style that I want to use. You can make these things with any style. It really doesn't matter. You could use sci-fi, watercolor cities, parchment. It doesn't matter. We're going to use fantasy battle maps because fantasy battle maps has the most array of stamp packs. And so therefore it's easier to make a landing page with various themes when you have a much larger variety of stamps to work with. From there, you'll want to, I'm going to go to Ultra 4K, just kind of a little caveat. If you have a lower end machine, you might want to edit in 3 or 2K. If you have a high end machine like I do, then use that Ultra 4K. And when it comes to landing pages, I generally always use landscape style because most maps, world maps, are going to be in that landscape style. Of course, there's also portrait as well. Some maps, people choose that, but landscape is the general style or the general aspect ratio. So we'll create the new map, we'll let that pop up. And what I normally do is I'll turn on that grid so that way I can snap things together. And I'll go ahead and make the background kind of black for now. So I'll just like fill and I'll turn on my grid like this. I'll put it, I think 40 by 30 is fine. That'll work just fine. I'm just going to save it real quick and call it Gothic Horror landing page. Hope everyone had if there was anybody here in the States who's in here, hope you enjoyed that 3-day weekend. I'm not sure that every state acknowledges the holiday that was on Monday. Some states don't, but I hope everyone enjoyed their 3-day weekend if they had it. So that's great. All right. So the grid is up, and what you can do, like a good starting place for putting together any landing page, is creating the frame. So you'll go into the shape tool, and then you'll go over to stamp. You'll open it up, and then you can see on the left side here where all the packs are. So just go in there and just kind of pick one. You can pick horror castle, horror dining, horror monster. Like all of these work fine. It doesn't really matter. Let's just kind of go through them. Dining. Ooh, yeah, I kind of like those ones. This kind of wooden color looks nice. Let's check out the Monster Hunter. Let's go with this one right here, this Gothic railing. I kind of like that grayish color. I think it looks nice. Oh, sorry you didn't get that 3-day weekend there, Bitter Dan. Better luck next time. Hope treat yourselves to something nice today, right? So what you'll do is you'll snap to grid, and then go ahead and just kind of create the frame. And then we can increase the stroke scale if you want it to be bigger. And what's nice is you can just kind of go through the catalog, and you don't have to like create the shape again, but just kind of look at the stamps, and you can kind of decide which ones looks the best. Like, does that one look better? Do I like, let's go over to here. Do I want cemetery? Do I want to look like this? Do I think that's a better scale, a better stamp? And I think a graveyardish Gothic horror kind of seems right, considering the holidays that are coming up. So we'll go with something like this. Okay. Now, once you've put the frame down, now you have a space that you're going to work within that frame, right? So what we'll do is we'll just select the frame there, and we'll lock it for now. In fact, we won't quite yet. One of the first things you can do with the frame is you can start decorating it with stuff. One really nice trick is that you can add things on the corner. So let's say that you want to add like a face or so, like these little statues here, decorating the corners like this right here. Looks like this piece was meant to be for these, but you know what? I want to decorate it with something different. So I'll just go through Gothic Castle and kind of just go through and look for things here. Gothic Horror Dining. Let's do these little faces right here. I think these work really nice. So I'll scale it down, and I'll just put one in each corner. And notice that I still have the snap to grid on there, so that way they will snap perfectly to the corner of those frames. So that's like one of the simplest things to do when you're decorating a frame. And it could be a frame for anything, not just a landing page, just putting things in the corner. They won't get in the way. They won't hide anything on the page. So the corners are perfect. The other thing you can do is you can, like, let's say that you want to put some thorns or stuff around it. So I could copy and paste it, put it down again, just line it up properly. And then I can go through and like type in like a vine or something. Let me just type in vine here. Oop, not in Gothic horror though. So there's some grasping vines here, and there's this grasping thorny vines. That might look good. Let's put that down real quick, just see what it looks like. No. You know what? It's just too uniform having it all around the whole thing. So let's use the shape tool or the line tool. And what we'll do is we'll just choose a thinner line of, or a thinner vine, and then we'll have it wrap around, it. I think that might be a good idea. So line tool will go into here. I think this one right here has some grasping thorns on there with a little bit of red on it. That fits well. So let's click that. And what I'll do is I'll just place one down just to see what it looks like. Let's push the scale up. Now, I'm going to have it wrap around the frame. Now, there's a certain way to have the vine wrap around the frame. You want a part of the wrap to be in front and a part of the wrap to be behind. So we'll start with the first one. Just start right here at the top and then just stop right there. Okay? Now let's go down a layer or two. And then you can go like this. There you go. And then just go back. Click this one again. Go back up a layer. Like that. So you guys are getting the general idea. So you go up, it wraps around. We do another one. It goes down a layer like this. Let's do fine. Oops, I don't want the opacity to go down. But you get the general idea on how it works. You're going to have a section that goes in front, a section that goes behind, a section that goes in front, and then a section that goes behind. So if you want to have the feeling of some vines wrapping around it, this is kind of the trick to do it. So let's just make sure that I have the sizes right. That's at 100. This one right here is at 100. That's good. Let's push this down a little bit more here. I'm going to turn snap to grid off too, as I don't really need it here. I don't want any of that snapping action going on here. So let's go ahead and continue just kind of pushing things to wrap in front and the ones to wrap in the back. So we got here, we'll push it around here like this. And now what I'll do is I won't have it wrapping around the whole thing. You can only have it wrapping around a part of it. So that way there's not this perfect uniform wrap of the thorns. So what we'll do is we'll just have part of it go here, and then it will stop. And then we can just do another corner right here like this. Okay. All right. And then we'll push this up around through here. There we go. Okay. That's the beautiful thing about the frame, is not having perfect symmetry. Like, it's not good to copy and paste the vines wrapping on that left side of the frame and then copy and paste them over to the right. What happens is a symmetry becomes too uniform and it doesn't look quite as good. And the trick to making things pop out is contrast. And one of the tricks to contrast is having asymmetry matched up with symmetry. So the symmetry part is the frame itself, that stone crypt-like stamp that you have there. The asymmetry is the vines grasping and wrapping around the frame. Okay, so that's going to make a good frame. You've got a mix between contrast of symmetry and asymmetry, and that is really the trick to a good map in general, or just anything that you're working on, at least in my opinion. I'll go ahead and bring the grid down so I can see the frame without the grid lines on it. We'll take a look at it. One other thing that's always nice is you can use light effects to make some cool stuff. So I'll type in light, and you'll see all these light sources here. But what I want to do is there's a certain one that I like that has a blue color, and so I might go with that. So I'll just click the Inkarnate tag, and that will open up the catalog for every single style. So now when I type in, when light was typed in, you'll notice that every single style that has the word light or lights or effects is going to pop up. Now I like this blue right here, Spooky Light it's called. It's part of Watercolor Cities, but it works just fine. Now overlay doesn't really, doesn't always work perfectly well, but I think right here on this color it does. So we'll just go ahead and put these blue lights on the eyes, and we can always change the color too as we see fit if we have to. But putting light on eyes is always a nice little way of adding those little tiny details. And that's something that I feel I'm somewhat known for, is that I always like to pay attention to the little details. Just those little blue lights right there alone just kind of add to it a little bit. So it's always nice to add that stuff onto there. Now let's go ahead and call the frame good for now. We might add to it later. But once you've done all that, then just select it all, create group, and label it frame. There we go, frame, and done. So now you have this nice frame, and what I'll end up doing is I'll generally put it like on the very top layer so that stamps don't go on top of it, though some overlap is nice. It's nice to have some stamps that go outside of the frame, and that again will create contrast. While most stamps or items within the frame are within the frame, you might have a sword or a random person or an arm or whatever it is you're decorating the frame with might stick outside of the frame, again creating contrast. So it's always nice to have those little tricks. So now that it's at layer 5, +5, I'll go ahead and lock that. Hey, first time chatter. Great. Learning you can make groups. Oh no, yeah, groups are easy to make. You just select it and then click the group. You can also select the G button. So if I ungroup and then I select everything and then just press that G key, once I press that G key, and remember, it will only work when I press the G key if things are selected. So select what you want, press the G key, group, and relabel. I generally recommend relabeling it. If you only have like maybe 4 or 5 groups, then you might not have to worry about labeling every single group. But if you have a lot of groups, labeling is going to save you a lot of heartache, because then you'll go through a list of groups figuring out which is which. So in other words, even if you only have a couple groups within a map that you work on, just label them right away. Group and label right away. And that way, you're setting a good habit of labeling, grouping and labeling right away. So just kind of get that habit started. It'll really, really, really help you. Okay, so let's take a step back, take a look at it. So we've made the frame. We've added some elements like the vines. We've added some lights glowing on the faces. All of those things. Oh, you know what other things I've kind of noticed here? I'm not seeing the lights over here. My mistake. So we'll go ahead and open it up here. Select both copy. I must have accidentally undid it. So we'll put those back. Oh no, 19% in your deep run. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, lights are back. Cool, making sure everything's in there. Perfect. Okay, let's do a quick save. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll add in that next element, which is let's make a task list icon or some kind of thing for the list or the to-do list to put down for your quests. And then, and it's usually what I'll do is I'll start with the frame and then go with the largest elements next. So the largest element after the frame is going to be the to-do list. And then after the to-do list, you'll probably have to do the little portrait, little frames for the character images. And then you'll have like maybe a space for your coin bag or whatever it might be. Okay. So we'll have this. Let's go ahead and create that I was talking about. And what we can do is there are a couple options here when you are putting together your task list. And we'll stick with the Gothic horror. So I'll kind of go through the Gothic horror stuff and see if there's anything that might just work right off the bat. And if it doesn't, then we'll have to create our own using the shape tool. So, because remember, the shape tool is magic. Okay, so let's use the shape tool because I'm not seeing anything that's going to work perfect for that. So this thing is locked, so I won't accidentally merge shapes here. Now, the shape can be anything that you want, but the starting shape for me is always a rectangle. That's a good start, a rectangle, and then from there you can add to it. So let's go ahead and put a to-do list down. I'll make it fit to the grid so that it works, and I might change the scale a little bit like that, and then I might want to choose a fill. And let's choose a texture because I don't want a flat color. And let's go to Fantasy Battle Maps. And we don't have to use a Gothic horror texture because the texture you're going to want to use isn't one that's going to be heavy with artifacts. For example, don't use a texture like this because it's so filled with all these artifacts that it's going to distract from the text. And so it will be harder to read. When you're choosing a background for this, you're going to want to choose something that is a little bit more, has less artifacts in it. So an example of a texture that might not have a lot of artifacts are probably found in other packs because this is Fantasy Battle Maps. So if you run over to Parchment World or Fantasy World, what you'll find is way better textures that have less on it. So let's choose this Parchment Ocean color. I think that works fine. Yep, this looks just fine. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and place it in the corner. Now you can put it over here. You can put it over here. you know, as an American English person, I read from left to right. So what I'll end up doing is putting the task list on the left side. We'll put it here. We'll turn snap to grid off. Now, what's really nice is you'll notice that these two are perfectly parallel to each other. What's really nice to break things up is just to rotate it just a hair. I mean, just a little bit like that. And what it does is it will, again, create that contrast. You have the frame, which is perfectly at 90-degree angles, but that little to-do list is tilted a little bit, a couple degrees to the left, and that allows it to be offset from the frame, making it pop out. Now, before I decide to end up doing that, let's decorate this thing with some stamps to make it fit into the Gothic horror theme. Normally, what I like to do when I decorate things like this, a to-do list, is we want to pick some stamps from the Gothic horror pack. And let's go ahead and just kind of go through here. There's some statues in here that I think that might work really well. So let me just see if I can find those. Ah, perfect. So these statues right here, there are two kind of things that you can decorate. There's two parts of the to-do list that you can decorate. There's the top part. Think of it as like the top mantle, like you did in heraldry, right? And then there's also stuff that you can decorate on the bottom, like this. This would be like the bottom mantle, okay? So what we'll do is we'll pick a stamp to go up here. I think a snake works really well. It fits right in with the Gothic horror theme. We could go with that one, or we could go with this one right here. I think this one right here also looks pretty dang cool. We could go with this one. Just kind of like scale it down and just fit it right on top. You could even put it down here at the bottom. Let's make this the bottom mantle. And then if we want, we can maybe make this the top mantle. No, that doesn't look good. Let's see if maybe we can pick something else that would work here. Let me take a look. Oh, you know what? Let's put this at the top. Kind of a little fallen angel here at the top. This will be the headpiece. This will be the bottom mantle and the top mantle. I think this will work out great. We'll turn off the shadow. We don't need it. We'll scale it down here. That looks good. Right there should look good. I want it to be kind of sitting right on top like that. That looks good. And then while we're at it, why not we just kind of add these little faces right here, but we'll make it much smaller. And I'm not going to put lights on them this time. And the reason why, one of the reasons why I want to put them on that corner is because something you'll notice is that unless you have multiple nodes, these kind of look odd. And so a way to hide that is just to put something right on the corner like that. Notice right here, you'll kind of see that this doesn't really do well with 90 degrees. Without multiple little dots on these lines right here, you're going to end up having this kind of problem. And the way that I fix it again is just to put little caps on the corners. Always, always helps. Oh, by the way, hi, first-time chatter. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Don't know how to pronounce your name, but super cool. Okay. You noticed us when you were making this world map. You should definitely check out our Creating an Epic World stream after watching this one. We're at part 2. We finished part 2 last week, so we'll be continuing that next month. Okay, I think overall, I think this kind of looks good, and I might go into the frame real quick, and instead of putting the eyes on those corner caps, what I'll do instead is put the eyes on the this person right here. There we go. Put some lights there. Is there anything down here that kind of... No, that works fine. Okay. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and just kind of take some of these, copy and paste some of these vines, and we'll kind of place them on here as well, just to kind of stick with continuity a little bit. Okay, so we'll put this one here. There we go. Put that there. That one looks particularly smaller. Boom, there we go. Put that at 100, bring it up more, and we'll put this one down here. Okay, and then put this one right there. There we go. Okay, so now that that is done, now we can create a group or just press the G key. Just make sure that everything is selected that you want to make a group, and then we'll call it to-do list. We'll add the text shortly. Create group, put it right over here, and again, I'm going to rotate it just a hair, just to give it just a slight feel to it. And I might make it just a tad smaller, scale it down. I want to make sure that there's a lot of room for the little tiny character portrait that I'm going to have down here. I need to have 5, so I have to make sure that there's room for that. So we'll push this a little bit up against the wall. I want to have a little bit of space in between, some cushion. There we go. And so we have the to-do list and we have the frame done. We'll just do a quick save and then we'll go ahead and work on that next step. I hope that you guys are kind of getting it together and kind of how to make these. There's a lot of different styles and ways of putting together a landing page. But this one right here is the kind of simplest. And then I'll probably be making more landing pages in the future. So if you guys are looking for more themes, we will have them. Okay, so now the next step is to put down those character plates. And what I'll do here is I will actually use, right now we're seeing a lot of 90-degree angles, a lot of sharp, corner, a lot of straight lines. And the way to break that up is to create some curves. So the way to create the curve is turn snap to grid on, and we'll create these oval-like shapes that are going to work as where my characters are going to be. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, you know what? I think I'm going to go with the vine. That will probably work best. Let's bring the scale up. That looks great. And then what we'll end up doing is kind of decorating some stuff. We're also going to want to choose a fill texture. I think we could stick with this one for now. And I'm going to go ahead and place them down just to make sure that I can fit all 5 of them on here. 4 and up. There we go. See? There's the problem. So now I need to scale these down a little bit. I want to be able to fit 5 of them. We'll turn snap to grid off for now. We'll end up rotating these to face in different directions, but I just want to make sure that I can fit them all in here first. Might have to move it over a little bit more, and it's okay to have some of them overlap. I kind of feel like that might look cool. Copy, paste. There we go. I think we were able to fit every single one of them on there. Perfect. Okay, so there is room. So now that I know that there's room, we can start adding things to this particular thing. I mean, just like with the to-do list, I want to create some elements on this oval shape. One of the most obvious things is to add a banner. Because you're going to need to have the player's name, right? Now, you're not going to find a banner in fantasy battle maps, but you will find them in other styles. So let's go to Fantasy World. Since we just released this new art, let's use these and try not to use one that's like too big, because I noticed this one right here is super nice, but it's super massive. And so what will happen is that these will kind of clash into each other. So make sure that you use one that will have space. So I'll just scale this down. We'll go like this. And I think we'll end up changing, we'll add filters to make the color. So the first thing is the banner. That's step 1. And then we want to add some elements on there as well. Yeah, I love making splash pages, Realm of Rust. Splash pages are fun. I don't make too many because I'm kind of required to make more battle maps than anything else for my job, but making splash screens are fun and they're great. And I kind of noticed that DMs really like them. So I hope in the future I'll be able to make a ton more. And the beautiful thing is that with these master classes is that we can make another landing page streamed with a different theme. So we can always kind of do that if we need to. So we'll go into here. Oopsie, I'm in Fantasy World. We'll go to Fantasy Battle Maps here. Click that. We'll go back, open up the catalog, go over to Gothic stuff. Just kind of take a look at what we have here. I saw that I used vines there, so maybe something that might work with the vines. There's a nice little eyeball here. I like this little Gothic railing. Clip here. Gothic dining. Not seeing anything here that would look good. Let's go with Monster Hunter. Ooh, I do like the knife. I like the steak. We could put parts on it. Oh, hey, there we go. Deadly Nightshade. Great. It's organic, just like the organic frame that we're using. So we'll go ahead and just place a piece of this on here. And then we're going to go ahead and use the line shape to add some of this vine stuff. What I'll do is I'll follow the O like this. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and bring it up, bring the scale down. And then what I'll do is I'll put a big one of these right here in the center. And then I'll take a smaller version, these smaller ones, scale it down, and then put them down on each side. So scale these down. There we go. Okay. And it fits well because it's organic, right? The vine is organic with the grasping vines. And then you have some deadly nightshade that I think that also works really, really well. Let's go ahead and turn off the shadows for these. We just don't need the shadow for now. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Shadow, don't need it. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and create group, and we're going to call it player profile. Create. There we go. Okay. And now we'll go ahead and place them on here like this. The first one will have perfectly lined up straight. And then we'll put another one right here. And then I'll rotate it a little bit this way. And what that will do, like I said, it will just kind of give it a different feel to it when you have these kind of rotated. Having them all perfectly lined up straight with each other, it just looks weird. So, you know, a little bit, making them a little off kilter a little bit is always a nice little thing to kind of add in there. Copy, paste, one more. Let's rotate that way. Let's rotate it this way. There we go. That looks good. Let's go ahead and place them, give ourselves a little bit more room. There we go. That looks good. And if you feel like you want them to all be lined up properly, select all of them. Go over here, align, distribute, center vertically. Now all of them are centered vertically as they should be. They're nice and lined up with each other. Now you don't have to do that. You could have like one of them going up, one of them going down like that. And that does kind of break up, because the thing is that all 5 of these profile things look exactly the same. And so to kind of break it up a little bit, you can have some being taller and tilted to the left or the right. And that will break up that so that it doesn't always look like it's just too much of the same thing. It's a nice little trick that'll throw in there. We've got player profiles, we've got frames, we've got the to-do list. Let's save, and then we'll go ahead and throw in some text to put inside of those things. We're also going to throw in a more frame stuff. Let's check our time here. Oh, 31. We got lots of time. Perfect. We're going to throw in like a coin purse, and then we'll put some blood in there. We'll put some blood on stuff, and then we'll throw in some more frame art. I think some corpses, vampire stuff, decorating, all of that stuff's going to do great. So we'll add more in there as well. First, let's go ahead and let's do the text later. Let's do the coin purse part. So with the coin purse, yeah, more blood. Blood for the blood gods. Yes. Mwah! Please give the blood to the blood gods. All right. Okay. Let's look up coin. And there should be a coin bag. This will work perfect. So we have a little coin bag right here. I'm going to use the one that has the coins coming out of it. You notice there's another coin purse right here, but it's not 100% obvious that it's a coin purse. So having the one with coin is nice. Now, there are a couple ways that we can go about doing it. You could just plop it right up here and then put a little banner next to it, or you can decorate it and add something like behind it. Let's do a little decorating. Let's type in, let's use a Gothic horror pillar. I think that will work great. It'll work as like a little background for it. And so we got all these pillars here. Here's a Gothic horror pillar. Let's open up this one and take a look at it. I think this looks pretty good. Let's put this in the corner, right in the corner like that. And then we'll put the coin purse on top of it like this. And I'm going to overlap it to where some of the coins are like falling out, like outside of the frame. And what that will do is it will make it look like it's not completely framed in. And then what I'll also do is I'll make a shadow so that it will pop out. And there are a couple ways that we can go about that. We could use like a white shadow that will contrast heavily against the stuff behind it. And then that will cause it to pop out. If you don't like the white, then you can go with black. Black shadow will also make it pop out if you want those coins to pop out. Another thing you can do is you can bring the brightness down. And you notice that bringing the brightness down causes the stamp in front of it, that coin purse, to pop out more. So follow these kind of tricks. Remember the trick contrast. Because the stamp behind it is darker, the stamp in front of it, being lighter, will pop out. So that way there's no confusion. Like when you first look at this, you think, is it just a pillar with a coin on top of it? But once I bring this down like this, that coin purse pops out, and there's no confusion about, oh, that's a coin purse. Okay? Next thing we'll do is we'll probably add a banner that we want to use to act as the text place for how much money is going to be. So we'll just type in banner again. And we don't have to use banners from Fantasy World, though I will, just so that I stick with some continuity. But I think I'll use a different one. I think this one right here might work just fine. And then let's actually put it like this, like that. And you know what I'll do is I don't mind it going outside of the frame. Let me flip it real quick, see if it'll look better this way. I kind of like it better that way. I'm not even sure. Do I even like that one? Let me try this one. Does this one work better? Let's try this one. I'm not sure which one works better. Let's stick with this one. This will work fine. Let's go with that. We'll put it right on top of it like this. There we go. That looks good. That's going to be our coin purse. Let's move it a little further away from the frame. There we go. And now you have your coin purse. And there's plenty of room right here for your world map to go, because that's really the big trick. You got to have the world map, because that is what a landing page is most designed for. It's the beginning page where your players start out, and it's to help them to kind of get a view of the world, where they're going to be going, the tasks they're going to be doing. So it's always important to have that space for that map there. Okay, let's turn that grid off. I don't think we need it anymore. And then we'll do some quick saves. Oh, and I'll quickly, I will also group this. So we'll create group, and we're going to call it coin purse. There we go, create. Now you might think there's just not a lot on here to make this Gothic yet. Don't worry, we're going to get to that part. Once we start getting to filters, that's where you really start getting it to pop out. We've already, set the page a little bit by using Gothic horror stamps, but once you start throwing down filters, that's what will create the lighting, the artifacts, and the overall atmosphere, the ambiance that you're getting, that you're kind of looking for. And there's quite a few filters to work with, and they're going to work out great. So we'll go ahead and do that. We've got coin purse. I'm going to go ahead and just lock everything. It's always good to lock whatever you finished. You're not using anymore, so just lock it. Let's go put down the text, and then we'll do another save. I am Fell English already kind of falls into the category, I feel. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. When it comes to text, contrast. Black text against a dark texture. White text against a dark texture. You want the people to be able to see what they're doing. So we'll put down to-do list or quest list or whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, you can label it any way that you wish. Call it whatever. We'll bold so that way it fits there. And then what I end up doing is, because there's a title to do, I'll use the line tool. I'll use the shape, the color black. And then what I'll end up doing is the line, and I'll just create a little underline underneath this, so that way it will separate it from the checklist. So I'll go ahead and push this here, put that there. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can have it be dotted like this, switch it like this. You can bring the gap length down. You can bring the gap size down if you want to make it smaller, so gap length, the length there, and then bring the stroke down if you want it to be smaller, and then there you go. Now when it comes to the checklist, not complex, super easy, just use your basic shape. Let's turn the grid on so I can kind of see, and then what I'll end up doing is just snap to grid. 1 second. There we go. Oh, that looks like half a one. There we go. And then I'll switch back to regular line. I don't need the dashed line for this. So now you have that. And then what you can do is just create the first one. Don't worry about creating a whole bunch. And let's scale it down a little bit. So just in case. There we go. Scale it down, rotate. I'll copy and paste from this one. Go back, line, scale it down, and then put it right against here like this. Like this. I think I need to rotate this one just a little bit. There we go. And then you can just copy and paste the checklist from here. Just like that. And I have them separate. I have the text to be separate so that way I can lock the frame, but still add text and edit the text as need be. Because what ends up happening is it would really be boring and annoying if you had to open up a group every time to edit the text. So having the text separate from the group is an easier way to access the text without having to open, close, open, close, open, close. Drive you absolutely bonkers. So what I'll end up and generally doing is just grouping all the text later once I've finished everything. But for now, we'll do this. And I'll actually think I'll add to-do list. I'll add the whole thing and just scale it down. There we go, to-do list. You can write whatever you want. You could make it creepy, like evil deeds list, hilarious, pathetic joke list. I mean, whatever it might be, right? So you'll add in that to-do list, and then we're obviously going to put in the player name. Now, since we don't have players yet, we'll just type in player. We'll scale it down, and we'll put it right on top. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of rotate it a little bit like this, just so it kind of fits in there. Rotate that one. Oops. Let's go ahead and select this, copy, paste. There we go. Just keep adding in the text as we go. Some cool tricks with text, just so you don't just have like a plain black. You can use blend modes to make things pop out more or to blend in more with the thing behind it. So you can use the overlay blend mode, and you'll see what that does. It still sticks out, but it kind of catches with the beneath it. But you can change it. You can go darken, color burn, lighten, screen. There's all kinds of difference. There's all kinds of blend modes you can use. It kind of looks like overlay is the best one, but I do really want them to pop out, so I won't do that for now. So we've got player, and then we want to type in one more thing. We want to type in coin or coin purse. Up to you. Whatever it is you want to call it. Sometimes I'll use different things to represent a coin purse. So we got coin right there. I'll rotate the text a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Let's go ahead and save it. And then we'll add in the last little bits because we're running out of time now. We're at 3:41. I don't want to take too long here. We'll add in the last little details, and then we'll add in filters. That way we can really, really boost up the theme there. So let me go ahead and turn the grid off. We really just don't need it anymore. So now you kind of see that it's kind of put together. And what's really nice is that I kind of feel like there's room right here between the coin purse and the to-do list. There's a little bit of space up in the corner that you might be able to fit some stuff here. Maybe you want some stuff in the front to overlap the player plates and the to-do list. So there's a lot of cool little things that you can add in there. So what we'll do is we'll go back to fantasy battle maps, we'll go into the gothic horror stuff, and we'll kind of find some things that we can use to kind of make it pop out more. And you've got some nice mirrors here, something that I kind of associate with gothic horror. One thing you can do is you can have things leaning up against the frame. So if you want, you can have like that leaning up against the frame. You can go in here, go to Monster Hunter, and I think there should be some nice stuff here. We can put like a pistol. We can put that somewhere. We can have that leaning up against the corner here like this. You can put it leaning up like that. Or if you wanted to have it leaning like this, up in this corner like this. Just make sure that both points are kind of touching the frame there. So that works out great. We've got a stake, a dagger. All these things look good. Let's have another one kind of just leaning up against here like this. I don't think that looks good there. Let's actually have it overlap. So like right in front of the, just right in front of the mirror. So we'll put a little there. You can even put like, if you want to decorate more of your character players, you can totally put like guns on the side here. Like maybe one of your players is a gunslinger or whatever. You want to put a weapon there. You can totally do that. So lots of cool little options that you can kind of work with there. Just kind of remember. Let's go ahead and turn the shadows off for now. We might want to change them later. Let's keep going through. You could always like throw in like a creepy little element, like put this in the very, very bottom and then put like a little character over here. If you want to make a spooky little thing, you can have maybe this character holding the character plate. So you can kind of put this like right here, like right there if you want to. You could put it over here. Just remember to kind of bring the brightness down so that the those other things will pop out. So you can put that like right here. You can throw that over here somewhere. Maybe they're holding maybe they're holding a plate. Maybe they're hiding right here. Whatever it is you want. Lots of kind of cool little tricks that you can kind of work with there. Let's kind of keep looking at other things that we have here. Ooh, there's a heart right here. Oh, I like that. Let's throw in a heart maybe. We can maybe put another corner. So let's maybe put like a heart in this corner. We'll push it up a layer. Up on top like that. Let's put holy candle, syringe, a stake. Perfect, right? If it's vampires or something, so let's put a stake next to the heart, as you would kind of expect. Let's throw in some more elements here. We could continue the theme of having some organic stuff. So if you want, you can always throw in, put this up in a corner. You could put this up against here somewhere. You could put it right here if you want to have more in the corner and have it overlap a little bit like this. So it always looks kind of nice to have things overlapping. Just make sure there's room. Don't cover the player's name. Don't cover too much of where the character's face, their bust, or their image is going to be. Don't cover up a checklist and the to-do list. Don't cover up too much of this. So just put it in a place where it's not going to take up too much room. And we'll turn off the shadow there. Kind of have it overlap a little bit there. Let's put in another one. I think that would be kind of nice, like maybe a smaller one. Just like right here in this corner right here. Just right in front of that stuff. We could put a smaller one like right over here at the edge here. Let's put in another one right here. Here we go. Another one in this corner right there. Okay, there we go. Let's take a step back and take a look at it. Yeah, it's kind of coming together. You're getting the pieces together. You're getting all that. Let's take a look at what else we have here. The dining. I'm not seeing anything in there. I'm not seeing anything in here that I really like. Sometimes you just have to expand all the assets to kind of just take a look at things. I do like these eyes. Those are cool. Well, I don't want to spend my entire time looking. Oh, 46. Yeah, let's add the filters. It is time to do the filters before we run out of time here. Okay. All right, so now it's going to add the filters. Let me just go ahead and just put right here, map here, just so that people can kind of know. I'll do the spacing. I'll bring the opacity down so that way it doesn't pop out. And then the map would go like right here. And I'll just rotate it just to kind of give it a little more feel to it. Map goes there. So that is where your map goes. Map goes here. Let's go ahead and add in some filters. Now, the first filter that I always recommend for any filter is to use like clarity, but let's use corrupted essence or doom and gloom. That will kind of add a nice little green kind of feel to it. Let's go ahead and bring it down just to see what it looks like. So here's without, and then as I kind of go up a little bit, it kind of gets that kind of feel to it. The next thing you might want to consider is maybe adding like a vignette. What the vignette will do is it will kind of put that shadow around the corners, and that works out just fine. You can change the blend mode. Sometimes I use overlay. Let me turn it off so you can see it. And what really nice with overlay is it will not completely darken out the corners, but it will kind of play with the contrast with the elements that are in the corners. So notice that the lights right here pop out more. Notice that these stamps pop out a little bit more in those corners. The line work, everything kind of pops a little bit more. Let me change it back to normal and you'll see the difference, right? When it's set to normal, it kind of just darkens the corner. But when I set to overlay, it darkens it, but also makes the stamps in those corners pop out. So it's very, very helpful to kind of throw that in there. Let's bring the opacity down even more here. The map goes there. So we've got that, we've added that, we've added that. Maybe want to add some more artifacts to make it look a little bit more like it needs more artifacts. So what we'll do is we'll go the plus sign. What happens is I just want to quickly note that when it comes to the filters, like texture filters, not every single filter from every style is going to show up. It's just the filters that are preset for the style. So if you're having a hard time finding where all the filters are, just texture filter, follow that little yellow line over to the left or to the right, and you will see create a custom filter. So plus button. Once you've done that, you'll go and click open catalog and then just click the Inkarnate tag. Every single filter will pop up. Now, normally I would use old paper to add artifacts. And because it's not meant for this style, it's meant for parchment, you're going to have to choose the right blend mode. So overlay. And what it does is you see is it has added artifacts to those to the stamp. So that way it kind of gives it a more grittier, dirtier look, which is what I want, right? That looks good. Let me turn it off so you can see how the texture, that it doesn't have quite as much texturing and artifacts, but when I add it, it really, really adds it on there. Now, normally I add this one, but I'm going to use this leather one because I absolutely love this one. This leather you can find with the Fantasy World style. So if you're looking for it, and then what I'll do is I'll turn it off for now and just kind of gradually go up and just kind of stop myself where it starts to look good, because all the way up, it's just too much artifacts. But when I bring it down a little bit, it has a healthy amount of artifacts that won't distract from the text. And it also just adds in that extra grittiness, which is what we want, right? I want that extra grittiness. Okay. All right. So there's that. Now, the next step is we're going to throw in some blood, and then we're going to call it good. You need to have blood. And we can probably throw in some skulls too. Now, the blood spatter with the fantasy battle maps is a little too hard to edge. You notice that the edges on these are really, really kind of, they look more like pools than blood splatter. So I'll go with watercolor battle maps. I just think these end up overall work better. And what you do is just place one and then just bring the opacity down. Now, the trick to showing if the blood is fresh, like someone was just recently killed, 100% opacity. But if you want to show that the blood is like old, it's been crusted on, bring the opacity down. Okay, so that's kind of that trick. And what I'll do is I want to put a little bit of blood on here, but not so much that it will distract. So I'll throw a piece there. Let's put some blood over in this corner over here. I definitely want to put it by the money. It's blood money. So we'll put a little bit of blood over there. And then we can put tiny little stains, like one over here on this player, one over here, like that on that player. And so you've got that nice little blood there. The last little thing that we're going to add in is we have a black background. The map is only going to fit within this space right here. Okay? The map is only going to fit within that space. So we do have room to fit. We do have to fit other rooms. We do have space on the left between the coin and the to-do list. And then underneath where the players are, we can do that. There is no black background transparency. We don't have that yet. So, nope, we don't have that. Though that would be cool. So what we'll do is we'll go into texture, and we're going to type in skulls. And there should be some skull ones. Ooh, this little skull one works great right here. Let's just apply it to see what it looks like. I don't like that color, and it's a little too bright. So we'll bring the brightness down onto it. You see how this kind of pops out too much? It's a little too much. So what we'll end up doing is go to color, bring the brightness down. Oop, even more than that. Let's bring it down even more, 38. That looks a little better. Let's bring the brightness down a little bit more, and let's bring the contrast up. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and put the black back on there. Let's go over that. Back over that. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'm going to use that same texture, but I'm going to bring the opacity down. Okay, and then what I'll do is just in this little corner over here, rest in here, I'll kind of throw in those skulls, just like this. Just throw in a little bit of skulls, just like this, and then we'll create a little fade that goes towards the map. So I'll put some right here in this corner, behind right here, put some in this corner, just a little bit in this corner, some over here, and that way we do have some room. Clicking, adding in, there we go. And now you kind of have a nice little fade from the black to that, and you have those skulls there. Great, I'm not going to get rid of that. We don't even need it. All our little skull friends, right? Yeah, the Bob Ross of Inkarnate. I'm never going to get over that. That's great. Now, of course, whenever you do like a lot of brushstrokes and texturing, you're going to end up having a ton of changes. So you'll have to end up doing a little save after doing your texturing. I'm sure those of you here who have made maps, once you do all that texturing, it's just so many things. So just save it right away. Okay. Hey, first time chatter, by the way, Mazlova. Lovey, glad that you are here. All right, so this looks great. And we have the perfect time too, 54, we're a little under an hour. Let's just take a look at what we did here. And then you don't have to stop here. Just keep going. You can add in so many more details if you want. It's up to you. Just remember that kind of little rule. You need to have room for the overworld map, okay? If you don't have room for the overworld map, then what's the point of having the landing page? What's the point of having the splash screen, the landing page, or whatever, right? So now you kind of get the trick. Now, there is one other thing that I would mention, actually, just real quick. Add new filter and go to color adjustment. And some cool things that you can do is you can just change the hue. So if you want like to be ultra green, you can do that. Let's bring the opacity all the way up. So if I go on this hue slider, you can change the color of it. So if you want a different feel, if you feel like the green doesn't look right, you want blue, you want purple. If you want pinks, you want to go back to the original colors we use. Maybe you want to go into greens and blues. So you can always change. Now, just remember that when you do change the hue, you are going to change the colors on the map as well. So what you might want to do is group everything and then call it the landing page elements, and then put a filter on top of that, and then put your map on top of the filter above it. So maybe the map will go onto layer 5, and then the filter on layer 4, and that way the filter will not accidentally affect the map, because that's what will happen. This is on layer 5. If I put a map down, it's going to affect that map, and you don't want that, right? You just want the filter to affect the frame and all the elements on it, not the map itself. So just remember, the map layer 5, filter layer 4, the elements layer 3. Okay, just remember that trick. All right. Well, hey, that's it. Thanks, guys. It was great. I think the next stream that's coming up, oh, shoot, what is it? I kind of forgot. I think it might be creating an epic mountain city 2, I think, which I'm super excited for. And then the next masterclass next Monday is actually going to be one that I like. We're going to be creating, I think it's either a character sheet or it's going to be, give me a second, let me think, or it's going to be, what was it? I think, yeah, it's either the character sheet or another one. I can't remember. But just go check our Discord server, join that, check the events and see it. I forgot what it was. There's a character sheet and then there's another one. I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah, a jobs posting board. I'm super excited about that. Making job listing boards are great, and DMs love them. They're fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow on Wednesday's stream. And next week, if you can't make it to this one, hopefully you'll make it to the next masterclass. And that will be on a Monday. I promise. All right. You guys are awesome. Love you so much. Merry map making. And I will see you all soon. Okay. Auf Wiedersehen. Take it easy. Okay.